Next to the stack of bills, you see a note, a few lines jotted down in large, uneven handwriting, just as the writer was about to rush out the door. I'm sorry, I fucked everyone over. P.S. I didn't kill him. P.P.S. Gift upstairs.
A gift? I am not drawing my gun, yet, but I don't like gifts.
Relax. Not everyone is out to trap you.
It's hardly surprising.
The medicine cabinet is empty.
Of course you were. How does that work anyway? Amphetamine. Does it make you a better detective?
There is little condescension in his phrasing. More measured curiosity. Be honest, he's not grilling you. He just wants to know. Ask if he's ever wanted to take it too.
Maybe I should.
It's not insincere. He's actually given it thought.
Doesn't the pupils and the gurning jaw, the sweating, doesn't it become tiring after a while? Right. Thank you for this information. Should we go? She certainly had her priorities straight when she was packing.
You see the same two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman, only now a red thread bisects the room, pointing from the antenna outside to the cupboard on the wall.
This is ballistics. She's left a trajectory for us.
A ray of backward motion explodes from his mouth to the roof outside, A prime, to then widen into a radius of locations in Martinez, B prime, B double prime, and B triple prime. It suggests the bullet came from the extreme upper quadrant of possible angles, from a point beyond the roof. B triple prime, the island in the bay.
Unless she thinks the perpetrator was standing on the ring antenna. That is where the thread seems to point. She was there that night. She would have known precisely where the bullet hole was in the glass. It also looks like there may be more to her skill set than we know. The question is, should we trust her? I find that hard to believe, but at this point, what difference does it make? I remember. So it is.
For a second he seems tired. The lead is flimsy. You might as well go around Martinez looking under every rock and talking to every person. But what else is there?
Not a lot, no. Of course. I mean, how do we get there? Joyce Messier had a sloop, but she's gone. Ah, yes, of course. The village. Let's go.
A red thread runs through.
Officer, what happened? You're wounded. Why are you wounded? You look terrible.
You're not limping. You're you. She sounds almost disappointed with you, reprimanding you for falling and hurting your knee.
Look at you, you can barely walk. Is this from the shooting in town? We heard gunshots. Not that we don't hear gunshots all the time, but they were closer than usual.
There was an exchange of fire on Rue de Saint-Ghilaine. It's nothing to be worried about, madame.
That's nothing to brag about, officer.
It's not serious. He'll be okay.
Of course. Can I help you with something? That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead. I'm sad to hear that. Take care of that with ether, will you? Don't get too many RCM men round here. Be sad to lose the first one.
That's cool. You boasting your bacterial infection like that.
Used to be some kind of fortification there before the war. For the communards. An anti-aircraft gun, I think. Bombed to bits in the landing. I haven't been there myself. Always steered clear of it.
Hasn't been there herself. Who has then?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies. Always seemed like a bad place to drink to me. People died there during the landing, you know. My mother told me.
This must be one of the many fortifications that was used in the dying days of the revolution against coalition forces before they took this city.
The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do, on rafts. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet casings and such. The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place before we go? Would that be alright?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do. If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull, I just got it nice and yellow, and no drinking on the boat, and no joyriding either.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye. See, that makes me not want to lend you my skiff. On a boat, rocking leads to capsizing. That there is an absolutely 100% rock-free skiff. You got that? Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete underwater. Cut your boat if you're not careful. Be sure to enter from the south side. Water's deep there. Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a small tank.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
On that island? That's, nothing. It's just a seafort and some plants. You can take a raft there. It's great. And we make a fire. We make a fire. Gather the sticks for the fire. And bullets. Or not real bullets, empty bullets.
Bullet shells. There are a lot of them left over from the war, but this could be important.
I don't know what these are. They're lights. The fire guy comes and asks us to put the fire out.
They must mean a human being on that island, but it's cut off.
No. Yes.
Let's go with yes.
Because he asks to put the fire out. I don't know. He doesn't like it. He don't like people to be there. You shouldn't go. Yes. I don't know.
Did you mean there are electrical lights?
Yes. No, he doesn't live there. I don't think. No, he lives there. Been there twice, 2 times. He doesn't live there. He isn't there sometimes.
Anything else? What does this guy look like?
I don't know. We ran. He just yelled we shouldn't be there. Our father killed himself. Don't say that, he didn't.
Shut up. Don't punch your brother, please. Don't start crying. We still need to ask more questions.
I'm not gonna start crying. Doesn't even have anything to do with this, you. Father isn't the fire guy.
The two things are unconnected. Your question didn't make sense.
There's
Lights? Fire guy? We should check up on that island. And you need to keep your dark humor in check in front of children, okay?
I'm not telling you twice.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? Even I can see that. I told you not to bring your trouble with you, policeman. We've got troubles of our own here. Though I suppose you took the worst of it. Turns out you were your own ill omen. I'm not sure those were the last of the men with guns either. There are always more coming for your kind, officer.
Be careful out there.
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
What? Fine. Let's blast SAD FM then.
SAD FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs. You seem to know its frequency by heart.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Eternally. Disco and
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence.
Let's go.
ICM. This feels familiar somehow.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the Revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. It's going to be hard to say them. Carrying around all that weight on a busted crutch is making you pant.
There were all sorts of groups and groupuscules back then. It doesn't really matter. No, an upside-down star.
with its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Gefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired. Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator. A hollow ring. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
That is his idea of a joke. He nods approvingly. He even smiles.
Someone who has basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures, popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife, widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Oh yes, under the bed. there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life-non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. It's making a strong comeback. After all...
That one student did have some, yes. It's still out of the ordinary.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting. Soft covers. There's a greasy old spring mattress resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracol blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
A flash of pain interrupts you, making you wince instead of letting the words out.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest later, it's okay by me.
You don't have to be a hero. Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard. The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. Sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does. We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it. My kinema? I don't want to do that. Let's just look around.
The consul stands by, mutely. Urgence, ouvert, reads a dial key. Allumé reads another. The frequency band says, radio diffusé. There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns.
A good place to hide. Cozy. Relatively safe from the rain.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area. The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop. Sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Klaasje's room.
Do you have a line of sight to the window? I can see it. Through the scope of a rifle. The shooter would be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure. I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest. Nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere. Don't beat yourself up, officer. We did not put guns in their hands or get them drunk.
The lieutenant pauses. Regret comes over him.
We will make up for it. Here. I feel it. Where?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea, leave it all, and walk in with a bottle in your hand. Always. Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been. Yes, cold and still. But love is warm, like the inside of her mouth. Oh, fuck, yes. Go there in your head. It's been days since you thought about her. A week. No, we're not starting with that. Not now. Not this time. This thought is over. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long. You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open? Alright, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open.
This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open. Makeshift electrical wiring runs out of its side and across the floor. The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
A dim golden glow animates the console. Faint, like a ghost light. Urgence ouvert reads one dial key. Allumer reads another.
It's on. Turn emergency open. I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
After you. So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here. Don't worry. I have a gun. I don't know. Extra good that I do.
A dim golden glow animates the console. Faint, like a ghost light. Urgence ouvert reads one dial key. Allumer reads another. The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle, a dim ambient orange. The dial slides under the dusty glass, dark and silent, despite the power being on. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, failed insular, are written on the band.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe, used for military communications.
It's an air-gapped system, an off-air military model. Its circuits are nearly impossible to bend, i.e., it cannot be remote-controlled. An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a 3-Angong 446.
Southeast Samaran made, exotic, must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid. You heard me. It's good now. like chalk wiped from the board. I did. And you opened it. How? I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness, a weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music. The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position. Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
No. Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold. Real music. Real prolet culte. That's la Rerolling, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
You need to address that remark.
The job of a shitlicker. It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess. How did it go? Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now. My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in 07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in 08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. 43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He nods, but he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. No. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
So that's why he's the deserter.
I have done everything a man can do. What have you done?
We keep people alive. We help them survive, whatever the ideological situation, day in and day out.
Survive? For what? I was just 16 years old. 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men. It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
It remains unclear what it is. He makes leaps he doesn't expect you to follow.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Rerolling. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too. Shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality. The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Rerolling. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Rerolling. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow? Iblis. The black-eyed angel.
Shaitan Ahura, the darkened one.
How does anyone survive? I steal supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
I have been running out of that stuff. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Rerolling was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just... I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
If the party had surrendered, then it would not be the party. Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
He was like a cleric, a shepherd.
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're a liberast.
You should engage him about inframaterialism. Impress him with all the ideas you picked up from the reading group. No, don't. This man does not subscribe to intellectual daydreams. The communism he mourns is a planetary force.
A liberal and a pederast. It's what most liberals are.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So is continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you.
What did I just say?
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
Oh, yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Rerolling. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You have been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence.
You had direct... You have been...
I'm ready.
He's practically admitting to it. dead fasces.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
Stupid twat.
The lieutenant looks at you with worry in his eyes. Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this.
Nature does not behave in a para-natural manner. Aberrant bourgeois musings, magic earl creatures, and esoteric sensations. It's all crypto-fascism. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked. Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist. Perhaps you suspected it before you took the case. The vision was you remembering that. Was it supposed to? The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface, meaningless.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Klaasje's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul. Nothing else comes up. You see the lieutenant watch you try to stimulate thought processes by hitting yourself.
Officer, a word?
Almost where? Almost ready to bleed to death.
No, come on. A word. Let's go.
Honorable One, you have accumulated a substantial amount of honor points on your life path. You are a man most virtuous. Of course there were honor points. Did you think no one was paying attention to all of your honorable deeds, Honorable One? Oh, the modesty on this one. Another 10 honor points for you, sir. You are on the fast track to becoming one of the rarest, most revered of all police officers, an honor cop. Yes, your deeds have spoken for you, Honorable One. But to fully drape oneself in an eternal cloak of honor, a ritual must be completed. A rite of honor. Even among the honorable, only the most dignified are deemed worthy. But you, O Honorable One, have excelled in honor. Honor comes from deep within you, and to truly know oneself, to know one's honor, one must reach deep within oneself and touch one's honor. You need to bring the thumb of your right hand, your sword hand, to your rectum and stick it in there to form the Arch of Honors. People will be in awe, admiring a police officer most honorable, in a sacred ritual of uttermost righteousness.
What are you doing? I can see that, but do you have to do it where everyone can see you? Have you no self-control? Please spare me this sight.
The lieutenant is a noble man, but he does not know honor like you and I do. Best not to waste time trying to explain. Lead by example. Congratulations, Honorable One. You have become a member of a noble faculty. A man kneels, an honor cop rises. Go forth and commit even more honorable deeds. And should your resolve ever waver, remember the right of honor. It will always cleanse a man's soul. It is an honor to serve with you, Honor Cop.
from nothing to this in a day. This is good, Lieutenant Jeffreiter. We just need a confession first and then maybe a solid motive later. Good. We are doing very good. He wants to confess, I can see that. We just need to pile it on a little more. The more we have on him, the closer he is.
You hear that? He thinks you're this close.
Well, I can think of one thing. The gun. We should pick it up and discuss it in front of him, make a show of it. Yes, good going. That should be our first priority. I can see that, yes. I'm not judging. Remember, he wants to tell us, but he doesn't want to help us. It needs to look like we already have everything.
There is palpable excitement in his tone. He likes him for this. A lot. But there's something more, too. He thinks the deserter has more than just this case in him. 44 years here.
Oh, yes. And he hasn't spoken to anybody in a long time. If we get him open, who knows what will pour out.
Minions of capital. What do you want?
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. On the butt, you see
Warren, personalized even. Looks like this weapon has seen a lot of use, hasn't it, sir?
no response from the old man. The plastic cape around his shoulders rustles in a small bout of wind.
Jacketed, military-grade ammunition. Stable in flight. Good for hitting something that's very, very far away.
As he speaks, he stresses every word. He's liking this. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him later.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
That's right. Pile it all on him now. 3 should do it. Maybe 4.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Dollars.
Fucking imbecile.
These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Simpler? No. This is another loose thread you will never connect. The lieutenant raises his brow. What are you doing? He's thinking. We almost got him here. Not now. Stop yourself.
People change shoes, detective. It was you. You were there, weren't you? Crawling and whirling in rags. What were you doing? Some kind of reconnaissance? Preparing the scene? Listening in on her?
Trying to rack your brains. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. More. He's gonna crack. But you need a little more.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your musketeer pistols. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? 4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder. You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Rerolling.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her. Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own, and so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle's scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift. Start with when he first saw him. It will give him a chance to ramble.
"3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley. Her honor guard came in tow.
Joyce. He means Joyce.
Wrinkled up whore. Yes, old-fashioned. They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout. Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing, sloppy and drunk. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and messed phalangs weren't conscripts. Boys like us. They were whites. All they know is to destroy and hurt. Barely alive. They like to kill while they're on their drugs. After the landing, in the burning years, I would take shots at them. End them. The worst ones, if I had a bullet to spare. I could see they've returned now to show their real face. The face they don't dare show their bourgeois voters back on Mundi with their families and polyester clothes. Them fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore.
For him to stop reacting to stimuli, to be broken off from the world, cordoned into darkness.
And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
He wants to see her covered in blood, to punish her.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
While he stands here and rots.
Made a little love nest up there. Sweaty linen and bottles they would use for God knows what. I saw other men there too, but I can't be sure. Even a woman once.
A red-haired woman? Ruby.
That kind of thing is fine by the party. So is fine by me. But it goes to show you.
Seems like the answer was yes.
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then. Just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she was on right there. She needed it just to move. Her passport and tickets to Lilienne. And from there to Klaasje.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
After she was gone.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
No. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her.
Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers. I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revershol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio. I'm not blind, am I? There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough. Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know. Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something. Woman.
He must have climbed to the roof, maybe.
I have my ways.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling rags. Those were your footprints. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
Thank God, the lieutenant is picking it up.
But that nook too?
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope. Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she? I haven't seen her there for days. Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew. She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Across the water, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, made of grey cinder block houses with Eternite roofs, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. He's there. Doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vic Mayer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place where, as the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers. Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries, pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Quayamoran, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under the horse car, until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
Syphilis is a disease Philippe III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination. The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them. What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why? That's right. Some advertising cockroaches erected a cynical deconstruction of it. We tore it down with honest working-class plastic explosives. And there it is again. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
Wait, it suddenly strikes you. Perhaps it was not as it seemed.
What are you talking about? What is this madness?
The lieutenant, too, has cocked his head and is looking at you with a strange expression.
So you're saying it's a communist monument now?
Not only.
We did always have the prettiest posters. Maybe you're right. That is how dialectics work. But understand this, art is still a bourgeois institution. And they all should still be sent to Yekokata. You know, you don't sound like a liberast anymore. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I will be escorted to prison by another Marzovian communist, as I should. Straight to Yekokata for this old revisionist. At last, atonement for my sins. Revisionism, reactionary ideation, desertion.
He still refuses to believe you subscribe to Mazovian socio-economics, but entertaining the thought has given him some measure of solace. Camaraderie, even. For a second there, he feels less alone. But then, the second passes.
The fat union man let them put it there. Corrupt as he is. Probably got a fat check for it, too. Shared with the law.
Accusations of corruption. Push them aside with a sharp change of topic, officer. Put the heat on him.
Horse. Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one. That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed.
You can't live alone.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things. Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzov. Oh, and charity, too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clares came to power.
You know why I killed that fucker, comrade. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something. The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
Hey.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker. She was, and she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muscova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work. Called in, they say, on the eve of battle. Ran away, vanished like a piss stain.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not. She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river.
Because she was dead.
Just say nothing.
The cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. And a moving target. She was going home. Waddling. Dressed in yellow. Drunk like she often was. The ruins are black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her. And the ruins. Someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal. If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Rerolling. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything. I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
The same old freezing hatred. There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot's plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A petanque maniac race traitor. I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one, that one. Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me. Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day, the blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
Yes, of course. Must be past the kidney stone. I hope it's excruciating. At least it keeps him from throwing his balls.
He seems relieved. Could he have been worried for him? He reminds him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of another thing, but no. It's just the hatred. They are veterans of the same war. Somewhere west in Coal City, his enemy is lying in a dark room on a metal slider. In Losser Municipal, like he will too. Soon. Half of the war between these men is over. With an agitated gait, Satellite Officer Jean-Héron Vichmer paces the jetty. 22 kilometers east in Martinez. What could he possibly be doing there for so long, he says. Police work? Patrol Officer Judith Minot replies, with a tinge of hope in her voice. Tinge of warmth, too, against the cold air rising from the water. He's drunk, she thinks, and we all know it. Still, she's just trying to see it in a generous light.
Glad? It's all gone. I ain't going anywhere.
Stares despondently at the lock. For a 60-year-old... The old man stares despondently. For a 60-year-old... The old man stares despondently. For a 60-year-old... The old man stares despondently. For a 60... The old man stares despondently. For a 60... The old man stares despondent. For a 60... The old man stares despondent. For a 60... The old man stares despondently. For a 60... The old man stares despondently. For a 60... The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's forgotten you're the... For a 60-year-old man with stomach trouble, who's... The old man stares despondent. What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild, indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even. Not senile, perhaps, but his seems more than that. The inner turmoil takes unexpected turns, as if forced on him in a way. In summary, you sense some underlying neurological disorder.
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again, erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. His lip curls into a snare at the memory.
Yes, where is he? I hope he doesn't have debilitating arthritis or kidney stones. He can still come out to play with balls and get shot in the head, right?
Oh my God, he's even worried for him.
No, I waited too long. I waited too long and now he's dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dras. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck him.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands, his health ailing.
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure an idea told to him by grown-ups from radio towers and leaflets in beautiful print when he was still a teenager. Everything is possible if we fight. And then he lost it. So did they all.
Glad we talked about what?
The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's forgotten you're there.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat. Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Something is happening. Stop. Lilienne. You could ask her, maybe. There it is again. To your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat. What?
What are you talking about? Is this... really us?
Your skin crawls. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster, but you don't have a gun. You feel the lieutenant's hand on your back, and then you hear him say 4 words.
I can see it.
Thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. The segmented antennae move with apprehension, searching for something that's not there. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. Nothing changes in the cyclical braying motion of the creature's limbs. They are porcelain white on the inside and reed-colored on the out, beige, light brown, and striped. You are unsure if it is scared or not. Its insect mind is impenetrable to your reasoning.
It is.
You glance over your shoulder. The lieutenant holds a piece of milled aluminium. He begins to pull it open, extremely carefully. It's the camera.
We need a photo. No one will believe us.
From the corner of your eye, you see a sudden cascade of motion ripple through the phasmid's limbs. A series of ultrasonic clicks fills your ear.
I won't be one of those fools who didn't take a picture.
He's letting his pride get in the way. You see the phasmid turn to him, its mandible antennae reaching out. Its motions are quick, sudden.
Understood. Of course.
The spindly mechanism turns itself back to you, its antennae taking their measure of the air, slowly. The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's forgotten you're there.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This...
Your way... Do...
But no.
Your confirmation is not required. Not really.
But then, who...
You can...
What is this?
Something Lilienne. You could ask her, maybe. You thought you heard...
Maybe we could all fit in there.
The old man stares.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This...
Your... Do...
But no.
Your confirmation is not really.
But then...
You can...
What is this?
Something Lilienne. You could ask her, maybe. You thought... The old man stares.
What? But you said I would...
Your way... Do...
But
No.
He saw pupils.
Your confirmation is not true.
But then,
You can.
What is this?
something. Lilienne. You could ask her, mate. You thought. The old man stares.
What?
This.
Your way. Do.
But no.
His pupils.
Your confirmation is not not real.
But then,
You can.
What is this?
something. Lilienne. You could ask her, mate. You thought. The old man stares.
What?
This.
Your. Do.
But no.
His pupil.
Your confirmation is not not.
But then,
You can.
What is this?
something. Lilienne. You could ask her, mate. There it is again. Something.
Maybe they're. What?
What are you?
Your skin crawls. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reef. It's still there.
What are you talking about? There's no...
The stick insect is over. You feel.
I can.
Thank, but that it's real. The creatures, the segment read like the hiss is different from the strings you heard before. Be afraid. You smell. Nothing changed. Its insect mind is impenetrable to your reasoning. Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Like laughter, a sort of happiness. The tracheal system on the creature's abdomen expands in front of you to take in and expel air. It's smelling you. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Maybe it is real. The pheromone.
About now, he is ready to believe in anything. The insect's head is crowned with reed-like scales, the shape of seed heads. They rustle as the air moves. The ventricles at its abdomen continue expanding, like lunglets, breathing you in, your sour, greasy semiochemicals on the breeze.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
Immortalized for all time. The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system. The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the chitin curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through your body.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you, praying to you. Unwittingly, the insect continues its stridulations. As it moves, tuft-like structures still pretending to be plants rustle along on its joints. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish.
Careful, it may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one.
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Fire? Where? I do not have fire inside me. In me, there is not even blood, but lymph, like sap from a one palm. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist, shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations, a swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms, all speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never burn. Are you sure? Sometimes, when molting, I will grow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced the missing antenna. The leg tried to move around independently, making it hard to walk. Yes, thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molded, I grew an antenna again. So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? Yes, no one detected me for such a long time. For thousands of years, I dithered, out of sight. Trapped myself in greenery. No one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective. Dripping of blood that smells like strawberries. Across the calm sea. The first in 1,000 years. No, you are awake. I am real. Light is foaming me. This is real. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily. I think we should eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Or read. Yum yum. I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmadia, endemic to the Insulindian insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molting, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. No one unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain. Also, by the soldiers of the revolution and officials of the occupation. Even the Samanese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Rerolling, district of Martinez, March 51. Now, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile simian nerve system ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind. You are a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if you misplace us all one day, or just forget? So, it is already happening. One day, one of you will close your eyes and sign, and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
It doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. Okay. Is it somehow related to the case? I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class. She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What now?
In some kind of strange, semi-catatonic state.
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
Overproductive Honour Glands. Here it is. It's titled Honour for the Brave and goes, I have no family. I make honour my family. I have no home. I make bravery my home. I have no desire. I make dignity my desire. I have no friends. I make humility my friend. I have no enemy. I make dishonour my enemy. This is my vow of honour for the brave. I am brave. Something like that. It's not the words that matter. It's the honour. Brother, you've managed to collect all the armor pieces. Too bad it's too late for the big showdown. Indeed, you found it all. Now your mortal coil is completely protected. Few cops are this futuristic. This passport, issued by the Sovereign Republic of Oranje, is issued to a black-haired woman called Katarzyna Klaasje.
Klaasje's hidden documents. From the empty boy.
It's Klaasje, with short black hair and glasses. She looks boyish, younger somehow, an old photo, before life came and did what it does.
Maybe our man, Mr. Dross, took it from Klaasje's, or whatever her name was, hiding place, or... Like a magpie? What a coincidence. Then it would also have collected the other objects, which would be highly unusual.
By now, the lieutenant has accepted your unusual methods.
I can see how the helmet could wash up on the island. And the scope. Maybe Mr. Dross lost it. But to seek this out would be very unusual behavior for an arthropod.
Would it? Maybe it was simply curious. A curious octopus would do something similar. Or even a cuttlefish.
An octopus belongs to a very different class. It's not even an insect, it's a mollusk. But yes, I see your point. She said it would be for Anouk Meyer-Smith. Anouk Meyer-Smith.
Katarzyna Klaasje was supposed to be her real name. Where Klaasje comes from. Remember? God damn it.
Yes, somehow she managed to lie to us. One more time. In a way, she's still lying to us right now. I don't know. But it's not Katarzyna Klaasje or Anouk Meyer-Smith. We didn't even scratch the surface with her, detective. Perhaps it's better that we didn't arrest her. Who knows what hell she'd be raising in my district by now.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now.
See?
Mr. Dross?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets. His gap-toothed mouth shaking with fear and longing, like an addict of some terrible substance. The plastic cape feels coarse. A light shiver passes the man. Other than that, no reaction. He feels small and frail.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem. Doesn't it, Mr. Dross?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid. Old age and shock. Yes, the arrest and the appearance of the phasmid, the combined stress. But you think it's something more than that, don't you?
There's much more. Remember what it said when it spoke.
He was energetic and articulate. After all these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, I would expect worse. It does not seem to be animated now it's left. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall. That could be part of the shock. But you're right, something is off here. Mr. Dross.
No response.
Then how did we see it? Oh, you mean, whatever does this, does it over time? Teenagers, kids, drunks, sightings are brief, and hence not credible. But anyone who spends a long time with it. Mr. Dross, have you ever seen a stick insect pretending to be the reeds? The doctors will have to look at this. I hope your station has better medical personnel than 57. This is a little advanced for a nurse. He did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him, like he didn't want to leave this place, and the insect maybe. I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this. This will be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo.
No one would believe you without it. He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should. No reaction. His breathing is slow, and he appears very old all of a sudden. Around 80.
Did you take this passport and other papers from a boy on the coast?
The spirit.
He hears us. The spirit?
No reply. He's gone again.
Try something else? We got him back for a moment.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there. With the help of a magpie phasmid? This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. You've gotten all you will out of this poor being. Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left, wherever he is.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, the ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the phasmid even. If it did, this is incredible.
The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched, and his mouth open.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here, if we don't take too long.